Hi everybody, welcome back to Miss Smith's art class. Happy fall! It's my favorite season of the year. It is so incredibly beautiful with all the warm colors of the leaves mixed with the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's absolutely beautiful. And the first official day of fall was September 22nd, which is the fall equinox. So for this unit, we're going to be studying landscapes. Let's take a look at this fall landscape here. There's lots of different concepts that we will be covering. One of the most important concepts with landscapes is atmospheric perspective. When you look at, let's say, a tree or a mountain up close, especially in the fall, you're going to see a lot of detail and bright, warm colors. But as the space goes back into the distance, you'll notice that you're going to see far less details and your colors will get cooler. So that is called atmospheric perspective. And if I'm not mistaken, Leonardo da Vinci was the first artist to really discover this. And that's one reason why the Mona Lisa is so important, is because you see atmospheric perspective in the Mona Lisa. If you look at the background, it's very muted, dull, kind of grayed out, and then she pops forward because she has more detail, more contrast, and warmer colors. So definitely use this to your advantage with your landscape art. Let's look at some more examples of this. These will also be attached to our Google Classroom, so you can take a closer look at this. Now, this one, it looks like there's rhododendron bushes in the foreground, and again, they are that warmer color and far more contrast. And then as you go back, you're going to see some more greens and yellows, but they fade into these cooler, softer, grayer blues. I just love this painting. With your landscape, you can choose exactly how you want to compose your shapes, but definitely leave enough room for a sky and make your sky interesting. Like, what time of day is it? What's the weather like? Is it clouds? Is it about to storm? Is it a nice bright sunny day, or is it sunset? That's always nice with the colors fading in the sky with sunset or sunrise. This one is a great example of the mountains in fall. So if you want, with your fall landscape, you can totally include individual trees, or you can just do these kind of hilltops with they almost look like little puffballs. The shapes of trees have these little confetti look. And then of course, as it goes back in the distance, you don't see those individual trees anymore. You just see the shape of the mountains. Again, warmer colors in the foreground, pushing back to your cooler colors here. I love that purple ridge. What time of day do you think this is? I'm guessing it might be like in the evening. Here's a painting. It almost looks like they used dry brush down here, maybe a bit of pointillism, dabbing the canvas with their brush. Now for this project, you can choose what kind of materials you'd like to use. The last one we looked at was a painting. This is obviously a photograph. It's totally up to you what you want to use, but I definitely want you to get inspired by these fall landscapes here. And hey, get outside. Take a look at this. You know, really look at the mountains in the distance. Look at the color of those mountains, and then look at trees up close. These are not different trees, they just look totally different because of the distance. So atmospheric perspective is a super important concept with this lesson. Traditionally, landscape art has a horizontal format. Turn your paper sideways and let's get started with our drawing. I think I'll start with the foreground, and I kind of want to have like these two hills coming at the sides here, and then the mountains in the middle. One of the most fun things about drawing trees and hills is they're all totally different. So I'm just gonna really kind of loosely draw a bumpy line going diagonally across the front. So that's gonna be my first hill. That'll be the closest hill to the viewer. And I really like diagonals, so my next hill is gonna kind of cross with that. And then later I may go back and add some individual trees here. Let's see, now I can do the mountains that are getting a little bit further back in the distance. Maybe I'll kind of start with one here. Now, as I go back in the distance, I want these to be a little bit less bumpy because you're seeing less of the individual trees. Like this one, it's kind of got these roundish sort of shapes, and then as they go back in the distance, they're gonna start smoothing out. Now I wanna keep going with these mountains. Let's see, maybe I want a higher one in the middle. That could be like Grandfather Mountain or something like that. These are nice and soft, they're organic, uneven. I'd like to have a mountain range here. One thing you'll also notice is that the space in between the mountains gets a little bit smaller. Like you're gonna see more mountains appear to be squished together towards the top here, whereas these have quite a bit more space. I think it would look nice to have another one here. Let's see, maybe even like a really faint one back here, just peeking through here. like to have kind of like a evergreen type tree here. So I'm just going to start with the tree trunk vertical line, and then I'm just going to kind of go do these sort of uneven type zigzaggy lines going between. When I add color later, it'll get much more sophisticated looking. So that's just kind of like a little evergreen tree to break that space up. And then I think I'd like to have maybe also seeing a little bit more individual trees in this first ridge. So I usually just draw really loosey-goosey for these trees. Okay, then I'm just going to draw these sort of puffy shapes for the rest of the tops of trees, like little round puff balls. Okay, and they overlap. So this one's closer. Maybe I'll even have the top of that one here is closer. But as they go back, all you're seeing is these little round shapes that become the tops of the trees here. Maybe I'll even add maybe another pointy tree here to kind of balance that out. It's nice to have some different shapes so that they're not all those puffy looking trees. Okay, now I got to do one over here too. I think I'll need kind of a little to balance that out. Okay. I want to keep my sketch fairly simple because, let's face it, the real reason we love fall is the color. So that is what's really going to help us. So, here you can see this a little bit more up close. These are pretty loose shapes here. I'll end up, doing different trees in different colors using orange, red, yellow. I'll do these in a dark forest green. Now this mountain, you're gonna see some individual trees, but they're not as defined as this. So I want to go even looser here and a little bit more, a little bit smaller actually. My trees should be a little bit smaller here. So I'm just kind of hinting at these shapes, loosey-goosey. Okay. Now by the time you get to that mountain, you're not going to be seeing these individual trees. So. With clouds is they're often like kind of flatter at the bottom, like maybe they're a little bit puffier at the top. So I'm going to do maybe a cloud going off the edge there, and maybe another one here just to kind of balance that out. Similar loose marks to the trees here below, and then I might just do some kind of wispy clouds there. Cool, let's see, maybe it needs another little darker shape down at the bottom just to balance that out. I like to have balance throughout the whole picture here. Maybe another one here. Stand back, always look at your art from a distance, see what you think. And that is sketching your landscape. Time to add color to your landscape. I'm going to start with yellow, and I always recommend starting with yellow because it's your lightest and brightest color, and if you've ever colored yellow after like purple, then the yellow gets dirty, so it's a nice way to keep your yellow clean and bright. Let's see, I'm going to use marker for the trees here in the foreground because it's going to have the most contrast. And as I go back, I'm going to transition into using colored pencils or crayons just for a softer look. Let's see, I'm going to put a little yellow on a lot of these trees, because even if the tree has orange or red in it, I think the yellow will be a nice undertone. And in fact, I kind of want the tops to be a little bit more yellow, as if they're being hit by the sun. Going to end up doing a lot of layering as well, which is another good reason to start with your lighter colors, is you can kind of blend on top of that. Okay, I'm going to continue coloring the two mountains in the foreground in marker, although maybe I'll just use marker for this one. But anyway, I'm going to do a little time lapse so you can watch this sped up. But have fun with this. Use lots of different colors, and don't forget to look back at those examples in the Google Classroom for more guidance on what fall landscapes look like. Really glad I used marker for the first mountain in the foreground here, because it's just so bright and it has so much pop and contrast. I feel like it's going to really do me some favors to make that first mountain pop forward. So for my second mountain here, I'm going to do a similar technique. I just want my treetops to be a little bit smaller and a little bit softer. So I think I'll be using crayons or twistables, and I'm doing a pretty similar technique here. That was really fun. I hope you enjoyed drawing these fall trees as well. I feel like you're gonna do really well with this. Like, seriously, look at how scribbly and loosey-goosey this second mountain is. Don't stress out too much about it. Again, think about blobs of yellow that kind of define your treetops, and then work into your oranges, reds, browns, and even this forest green. So, oh, another thing that I did at the last minute was I kind of darkened behind this first ridge just to make sure this one looked like it was in front of that one. next we'll be working on our cooler, more distant Blue Ridge Mountains. So I keep referencing this one photo from our Google Classroom here. Okay, let's study these mountains here. They're definitely, the lightest blue mountains are in the distance. And then you've got this more cobalt blue here with slightly darker at the top. That must be fog pushing down to the bottom. And then these mountains here are almost in the purple range. I guess that's because the atmospheric perspective is mixing with the warm colors of the fall, creating this sort of purple value. One thing that I have a hard time with is telling what color is which, just necessarily from the outside. So you may want to go in on the back and sort of test out your colors. Like that's going to be my lightest blue, and then I'll go into this darker blue. Looks like this is more of a purpley blue. That could be good for the mountains. Let's see if this, I might mix with some other shades of purple to kind of get something a little bit more natural. That one might be a little bit too pink though. So just before you put the colors on your page, you may want to sort of test them out like this, just to double check that they're really the color that you think they are. Yeah, I think that'll blend well for that middle mountain range. So let me go ahead and do that here. Let's see, I think I'll go kind of lightly in the middle. And again, these mountains, you're not seeing individual trees, so you can just go more with fields of color. Let's see, it looks like they're slightly darker towards the top. So I'm going to go with my darker purple up here. Maybe even more red towards the bottom. I don't want it to be super bright though, so I'm going kind of lightly. Let's see. I wonder what would happen if I even added some green in there. Do y'all know what red and green make if you mix them? Makes brown. Red and green are opposites on the color wheel, so they're complementary colors. Whenever you mix opposites, you're going to get sort of a brown color, which is actually pretty good. This is looking a little odd. I don't know if this one's turning out the exact way I planned, but hey, I'm going to keep working with it. I think that green, yeah, that green must have been a little bit too neon for that mountain. I wonder if I even added some orange, what would happen? Going exactly as planned. But hey, that's a good lesson in art, right? Things don't always go exactly as planned. I'm like mixing all these different colors here. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. I just put some yellow in there. I do not know if that was the right thing to do. Okay, let me go back to my original plan. Let me go back to that kind of pinky purple. Maybe this is good having all these different colors on this mountain because it shows that the fall leaves are mixing together visually. Okay, I need to bring it back in with that purple towards the top. And I'm going with this idea that the mountains are darker at the top than at the bottom. I may have to figure out what to do down here. It looks a little muddy. I wonder if I even took like an eraser or something and kind of tried to lighten that area. Just to sort of tone it down some. Ooh. That may not have helped at all. I guess you can't really erase crayon. Scraping? Oh, I have an idea. Maybe I could darken this mountain here. Oh yeah, that's starting to look better. Maybe if I darken that one, it'll make that one kind of push back a little bit. Well, as you can see, even professional artists struggle. It's not always perfect. I'm mixing colors on my paper, figuring it out. Oof, my arm is getting tired. Maybe once I put those blue mountains in the background, the whole thing will come together, because this one's looking a little crazy. Well, ooh, I have another idea. What if I put white on top of here? Ooh, yeah, that kind of does what I wanted the eraser to do. It sort of softens it and dulls that down a little bit and pushes that back. Woo! Yay! Don't give up, see? Even when you think maybe you did something wrong, don't give up. Okay. Yay, I'm starting to be happier with this now. Awesome. Whew, I need to break. My arm is about to break off. That was by far my hardest mountain so far. I'm glad that one's done. These back here I think are going to be a lot easier. I'm going to use my darker blue to go along this ridge line. I'm going to call that one Grandfather Mountain. And when I look at the photo, it's darker at the top. So as I come down, I'm going to release pressure. I want this to look nice and smooth. Going side by side. Normally I would vary the direction of my pencil lines, but for this I think because of the horizontal format of the picture and the way that the mountains go side to side, I think that the horizontal marks will be fine. So there's several ways that you can blend colors here. You can release pressure. You could also start to use a lighter color. So I could take this lighter blue and go on top and keep then releasing the pressure of the lighter blue. One thing that worked really well with this mountain is to blend using the white. So that's definitely something I'm going to try here. So I want to get that fairly smooth. I think I even want to go a little bit darker up here. It might be too bright of a blue. What could I add to this blue to kind of dull it down? Maybe gray? Might have to experiment a little bit. Luckily, these twistables are really nice for blending colors. And they have them on sale at Staples for $4 a pack, so I stocked up. Okay, now I want to see how that that white can go on top of this cerulean blue or sky blue. And I think that might blend it. Make that nice and smooth. I did it right. Ooh, I've got this gray color here. I want to try that. It's kind of nice to get a little bit more of a natural dulled down color in there. Cool. I'm going to turn this to time lapse just so that this doesn't take forever, but you'll see me continuing with the blue ridge on both of those sides. Now that my mountains are done, I can focus my eyes on the sky. When I look at this reference photo, see here, you can tell that the bottom of the sky where it hits the mountains is just slightly warmer. So a little trick is you can add a little bit of yellow or even peach towards the bottom of your sky. And then I'm going to use shades of gray here. Ooh, I can see a little bit of golden yellow hint in there, and then maybe even just a little bit of soft blue up at the top. But I want my sky to be pretty light in general, so at the end I may even go on top with my white crayon and blend the whole thing together. Here is my finished fall landscape. What do you think? I'm really proud of myself. I think it turned out great. I hope you had fun with this too. Don't forget about atmospheric perspective and the way that distance changes color and clarity. And go outside. Really enjoy this beautiful fall weather. Take a look at the mountains in the distance. See how they change from the trees right in front of you. Thank you for watching, and I've always wanted to be the next Bob Ross, so this is making my dreams come true of drawing happy little trees and happy little clouds. Till next time, bye everybody. Wookie, do you want to do some landscape art? He's our art star. Always gotta have a Wookie appearance. Hi, buddy. Thanks for helping. Say hi to the camera. Say hi. Oh, yeah, he's got some nice fall colors.